Here's a question. How long does it take to rebuild? Are you about to turn the corner? I'm going to reach on this one too, just like I did in the American League Central. I got Cincinnati. I have the Reds winning the National League Central. Now, they've been building for this for a long time. They got a really good number one in Hunter Green. They got a really good number two in Graham Ashcraft. They got 4 other rental pitchers that they brought in. And their everyday lineup, we didn't know these guys about a year and a half ago. We know these guys now. Eli De La Cruz, huge shortstop, big bat, unique personality. Spencer Spear, Will Benson, you name it, they've got guys. Now, they just lost their shortstop, Matt McLean, with emergency shoulder surgery. He's going to be out about a month. I got Cincinnati, as young as they are, and we saw a chunk last season where they really played well. I got the Reds winning that division. St. Louis has got Goldschmidt and Arenado, but I don't understand anything else in St. Louis. They do have a bunch of young outfielders led by Dylan O'Connell, but I don't understand their pitching. They jumped into free agency back in November, and just like that, they announced to us that Lance Lynn is going to be the front of the rotation. Lance Lynn. You're kidding me. Then they got Sonny Gray from Minnesota. He promptly got hurt. He's not on the roster right now. They got a journeyman, Kyle Gibson. This is St. Louis, which has had a history of big budgets and playing guys. St. Louis with a cardinal way of doing it. Why would you take those guys at the front of your rotation the first week of free agency when everybody was out there? You know, they supposedly were interested in Snell, supposedly interested in Jordan Montgomery. Why would you not follow through and make a run on one of those guys? Cubs, new manager, Craig Counsell. They lose Marcus Stroman. They did re-sign Bellinger. And their offseason acquisitions, Mike Bush, who's probably going to hit some home runs there at Wrigley Field, the Dodger hot prospect. And they signed one Japanese pitcher, Shoto Imanaga. He's pitched sparingly in the spring and has kind of gotten banged around. I'm not quite sure why the Cubs ownership acts the way they do. Chicago's a big market. Chicago has won. Chicago has had big budgets, and now they're kind of streamlined the thing. It's going to be an awful year in Milwaukee, and I'm talking about hot weather or snow. There's fire sale of the roster. No Brandon Woodruff, gone for the year, shoulder surgery. Trade Corbin Burns. They did sign Rhys Hoskins. They have an outstanding young outfielder by the name of Jackson Chourio, who I think is going to start opening day. Is he ready for the major leagues? Remains to be seen. But they've really thinned out everything from a talent standpoint. It's like, I think you would call it transition year, but that normally is kind of painful. And then there's Pittsburgh. Please explain to me, when you're playing in a beautiful stadium and you get revenue sharing, why you shop at Dollar General. That's what the Pirates do. The Pirates have spent in the farm system. O'Neal Cruz comes up of the dislocated ankle. He's back. Mitch Keller took him about 4 years, arrived as the lead guy on their staff. Got a good catcher, Henry Davis, but they've rented a bunch of arms in the rotation. And, you know, I'm just not sure that some of the guys that they've added, the Martin Perez's of the world, the Marco Gonzalez's, who are fringe starters, that's going to be the bulk of their rotation. So it's a shame. You know, I see pictures of PNC Park on the Pittsburgh sky. It's the most beautiful park in Major League Baseball, John. And I just don't understand this method of operation in Pittsburgh. They're insulted that I said you shouldn't shop at Dollar General stores. That's what the hell that is. Your reaction to NL Central?
It's like the AL Central. It's like this quagmire of teams that are all kind of middling,
rebuilding,
or whatever you want to call it. You know, so your call on this Reds that's not a bad call there. I mean, that Ellie De La Cruz is like another Tatis, another Acuna, one of these really super dynamic players. But I'm going to go with Chicago. I mean, I like Craig Counsell. I think that's a good spot for him to go. And I don't think there's any dominant team here. But yeah, Pittsburgh, that's Mrs. Hacksaw's team, right?
Oh,
and how's she handling it?
She yells at that like she yells at the Steelers on TV. She yells at the Pirates on TV too. Okay, let's move on.